Oh, here. Okay, thank you.
תודה נחמה, ואני אקצר. אנחנו מקליטים, התחלנו להקליט את הפגישה של Learn Yiddish and Yiddish Literature Online. היום, מהו התאריך היום?
25 למרץ.
מה התאריך לחודש?
25.
היום זוהי הפגישה של ה-25 במרץ 2024. ואני מסכם שוב מה שלא הקלטנו לפני כמה דקות. שטריגלר מתחיל את המאמר שלו, הוא מספר שבן גוריון שאל אינטלקטואלים בעולם ובמדינת ישראל שאלה אחת, מיהו יהודי? ולמה הוא שאל את השאלה? כי מבחינה של חוקי מדינת ישראל צריך היה לדעת ברור מיהו יהודי, כדי לדעת מי יכול להירשם להיות אזרח של מדינת ישראל. וכמו שאנחנו יודעים, המדינה קמה כדי לאסוף בתוכה את היהודים, ולכן מבחינה לגיסלטיבית, כדי שהחוק יאפשר אדם להיות חלק ממדינת ישראל, צריך להגיד מיהו יהודי. ובן גוריון פתאום הבין שזה לא ברור מבחינה חוקית את מי אפשר להגדיר כיהודי. ואני מוסיף, הבעיה התעוררה, ואנחנו נראה את זה אולי מאוחר יותר במאמר, מכיוון שיהודי שהתנצר ביקש להיות אזרח של מדינת ישראל, והוא טען שהוא אמנם התנצר, אבל הוא גם יהודי. ואז בן גוריון הבין שהחוק בישראל צריך הגדרה ברורה מיהו יהודי. ולכן הוא שאל ב-1958, 10 שנים אחרי שמדינת ישראל קמה, שיגידו לו אינטלקטואלים יהודים בעולם ובמדינת ישראל, מה לדעתם צריך להגיד, היא ההגדרה, the definition, who is a Jew.
כאילו, האינטלקטואלים, אני מניח, וגם רבנים, כי בסופו של דבר...
אני כבר אמרתי את זה כשלא היית עדיין. כבר אמרתי את זה, אני לא רוצה לחזור על זה. כל מיני סוגים של אינטלקטואלים יהודים, ונחמה תמשיך המשפט הבא.
Aber jene weitliche, yeah, it's a mistake there. The gimel should be a mem. Weitliche Frage.
רגע, מה המילה?
It's a gimel, but I think it's a mistake.
אבל תגידי את המילה שאת חושבת שצריך להיות.
Weitliche. No,
אחרי איזה אותיות יש?
No, it's a mistake. There should be an I in, I think. Geweitliche.
תמשיכי, מה המילים הבאות?
No, it's not written correctly.
אוקיי, אבל זה לא עוזר שאת אומרת, תקראי הלאה.
Okay, aber jene ungewöhnliche
ungewöhnliche
Frage, was hat Poshut zertummelt die jiddische Welt, ist charakteristisch für unser jiddischen Dor Bichlal.
אוקיי. אני מתמצת את המשפט הזה, ושטריגלר אומר שהשאלה די ungewöhnliche Frage, השאלה הנדירה, הלא רגילה, מיהו יהודי, hat zertummelt die jüdische Welt, הכניס בלבול בעולם היהודי. פתאום, suddenly, the Jewish world outside Israel and in Israel didn't know for sure who is a Jew. And there was a need to define who is a Jew. And this need to define who is a Jew, says Strigler, was characteristic to that time. Because I am commenting that, why was it characteristic? The uncertainty who is a Jew at that time, because we had in 1958, 10 years after the state was established, we have a lot of different groups who defined themselves as Jews, and it was not clear who is the common denominator for all those groups, which can include all of them as Jews in the Jewish people. There were Orthodox, there were non-religious Jews, there were dozens of different groups who claimed they are Jews, but there was no a unified definition who is a Jew. The Orthodox said that the seculars are not Jewish enough or are not Jews. The seculars said that the Orthodox don't count them, but they are Jews. So suddenly, the Jewish people in the 20th century, 10 years after the establishment of the Jewish state, had no unified definition who is a Jew, and because of that, Jews in the world were not sure about their identity as Jews. Amy, it is clear what I said until now about the article?
Yes, thank you.
Okay. And I want to say also that the article Strigler wrote 66 years ago in 1958 is completely relevant to what happens today with the Jewish people all over the world. Even today, there is a kind of uncertainty who is a Jew. There are discussions between different groups who claim they are Jews and others are not Jews. So the article of Strigler is a very actual problem, which Strigler attacks, trying to define, even for today, who is a Jew. Nechama,
can I? Sorry.
Ken.
Yeah, I mean, a few years ago, I read a book of Jewish science fiction stories by different authors.
Who is speaking?
Amy. It's
Ken.
Amy. Yeah. And one of the stories, I don't remember the author. I'm not sure about the title, but it was about, it was science fiction. So it was this outer space thing with the different galaxies. Yeah. And they were going to have some kind of a intergalactic meeting of the universe's Jews. And so all the planets and the galaxies sent representatives, and one of them sent like a cushion for a couch that you sit on, like a chair cushion.
One moment,
because that's what
one of them sent what?
A cushion that you sit on. How do you say cushion?
A kishale. A kishale.
A kishale.
Okay.
Like a kishale, because on that planet, that's what the life form was. And the big question was, does that qualify as a Jew? A Jewish kishale from that planet. So in other words, the perennial eternal question, who is a Jew?
So it means the kishale is to feel comfort in that planet.
No, the kishale was the life form of the planet. Everybody on that planet was a kishale. That was so. Okay. But there were Jewish kishalech, and then there were the others. So the Jews of the universe had to decide whether they're real Jews, if they're
okay,
if that's the life form. But
okay,
I think
I never heard about that science fiction book.
Yeah.
But
well,
as you say,
yeah,
this is perhaps what you are mentioning. This fiction book maybe is a proof how disoriented the world was about what is a Jew. Because if a Jew can be a kishale.
Yeah, right. And how the Jews, I think, are always trying to figure out who we are ourselves.
Okay.
And I think something like that. But yeah.
Ich will sagen, als die Frumme, ein Teil von die Frumme sagen, als die Säkulare seien ärger wie die Goyim. Ich hab das gehört. Ja.
Nachon. Das heißt, als das, was wir lernen heint bei Striegler, ist sehr eine aktuelle Frage. Und lassen wir gehen weiter und sehen, wie so Striegler analysiert den Problem. משפט הבא.
Okay. Sie hat uns bewiesen, als Hagam, wir sehen schon Erfolg, a viele Leute aller Welt Simonim, haben wir noch nicht kein einheitlich prinzipielle Mossen, Leute, welche man soll feststellen unsere Volkigkeit.
Okay. Striegler is a master of style while approaching to analyze the problem. I say that Striegler is a master of style because he goes down to details. He writes with very detailed resolutions of his arguments. he doesn't haste to reach answers. Before he tries to reach answers and to analyze the problem, he writes, like here, a kind of prolegomena, a kind of introduction to the problem. Strigler, as a master of style and as a master of analyzing complicated problems, is a very good teacher for the reader. And in the sentence Nechama read now, he says more or less what we said until now, but he says like that. Nevertheless, and after we know that Jews are a nation with all the signs of a nation. For instance, I say, they have their own language, and even more than one, Hebrew, Yiddish. They have their own culture. They have a lot of signs which are characteristic of them as a nation. But, Strigler says, even though we have all the signs of a nation, like any other nations, we have their own language, their own culture, we also have all these signs as characteristic of us. In spite of that we are a nation and we have signs, specific signs as a Jewish nation, we have no unified criteria. What is a Jew? So in fact, he says what we spoke about, but he formulates the problem from different perspectives. Nechama, המשפט הבא.
Okay, this is a new paragraph.
Right. I am not translating word by word because we read already all that. But when we will came to new paragraphs, we will have to translate word by word. Okay, a new paragraph.
Okay, ja, offiziell hat sich die Frage bloß gestellt in Medinas Yisrael. Aber faktisch hat sie sich herübergetragen euch in die Tvuzes.
Bagalut.
Tvuzes.
Okay. So what Strigler is saying, that from a historical point of view, Ben Gurion in the state of Israel began to ask who is a Jew. But in fact, says Strigler, the problem, the echoes of the problem came also to the diaspora. And now, in 1958, Strigler says, the whole Jewish people in the diaspora in Israel is occupied, is busy with trying to answer the question, who is a Jew? Until now, someone has something to ask. Okay. Nechama, המשפט הבא.
Der Klall ist da gewesen a Posheter. Rebbe lo shana. Reb Chaye, I don't know what this is. Is it Minyan?
כן, Minyan.
Okay. Ob der Rebbe von jüdischen Volk, die Medina, weiß nicht, Tof und wann soll es wissen, ihr Talmud ist in die Putzes.
אוקיי.
תבוצות, yeah.
כן, אנחנו כבר קראנו את זה בפעם שעברה, ואני לא אכנס שוב להסביר, אני רק אומר, שטריגלר is a Talmudist. Striegler is given or gelernt in a yeshiva. Therefore, Nitzter, he uses Talmudic expressions to say the same thing. And what he says is, if the rabbi, which means the state of Israel, don't know who is a Jew, why should the Talmud, why should the Jews in the world in Israel know what is a Jew? It's a question of style in a language of the Talmud. But he's saying the same thing. Nechama, tamshich.
Bet hen sagen, als kein schon innerlich jeswoldiger Problem hat nicht herausgerufen, als so viel neugierige Spannung zwischen jeden in der Welt, wie die dosige, abstrakte Scheile.
אוקיי, אנחנו כבר קראנו את זה, לכן אני לא מתרגם מילה במילה. מה ששטריגלר אומר, no event inside the state of Israel erased such an interest also in the diaspora as the question Ben-Gurion is asking, who is a Jew? תמשיכי נחמה.
Okay, es hat gekannt machen dem Eindruck, als bis jetzt hat keiner wegen dem אפילו nicht getracht. Und erst...
אוקיי, עכשיו תתרגמי לאנגלית, אנחנו מתחילים לתרגם מילה במילה. כן.
It could have made the impression or
right.
Something like
Eindruck,
that.
Impression, okay.
Okay, as bis jetzt, that until now, nobody...
Until 1958, when Ben-Gurion is asking, okay?
And nobody even thought about it.
Okay, so what Strila is trying to say in continuation is that the question, who is a Jew, is in reality not a new question. That in the past, such a question was posed before the Jewish people. נחמה, תקראי הלאה.
Und erst bis man hat man Raptum. That's a beautiful word. I've never heard it before.
Raptum, suddenly.
Raptum, yeah. Is bemerkt als man weiß nicht.
תרגום לאנגלית.
Und erst
and only.
Okay, and merely or only at this time now, we suddenly bemerkt, took notice or notice.
Right.
Okay, that we don't know.
That we don't know, but as Strehler said, the question who is a Jew is not a new one. It existed in the past. תקראי הלאה.
Okay. Was darf man mehr? Afilu in die heimisch-zionistische Kreisen von Amerika ist geworden ein Stickel Bahole. Man hat ungeheuer...
תתרגמי.
Okay.
Was darf man mehr?
What else
do we need?
What else do we need?
Even in the circles, in the Zionistic circles of America,
it became a little bit of a commotion, a bahola.
Right, but why it became a commotion in the Zionistic circles? because the Zionists in America, they know who is a Jew. But when they heard the question, they were not certain about their own identity. מישהו רוצה לשאול משהו?
Yeah, you know, my brother-in-law once mentioned that sie haben die Rabbonim haben gemacht, als der was hat a jiddische Mame is a Yid, aber ob die Mame is nicht a Yid oder a Yidne, as der Mensch is nicht a Yid.
That's true from the halachic point of view.
Aber hat gesagt, von die Pogromen, von Zeit von die Pogromen, sie haben gepasst hinter sie. Ich weiß nicht, ob das ist MS.
Yeah, this is halachic. This is an halachic opinion from rabbis, and until today, if the mother is Jewish, the child is Jewish. But from the halachic point of view, if the mother is not Jewish, the child is not Jewish. Okay. תמשיכי נחמה.
Okay, men hat angehoben einladen Redner auf der Thema und nicht wenig Jiden haben sich gebesert auf Schreiber Pluni oder Almuni.
Ploni oder Almoini.
Okay.
זאת אומרת, a writer X or Y can.
Oh, is that what it, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Ploni oder Almoni.
Almoni can.
Yeah. Halamai, sie haben doch nicht genommen keine Stellung.
So there was a protest by different Jews why the Yiddish writers, some of them, don't define who is a Jew. And I am asking myself and answering, why was a criticism against Yiddish writers? Because between the two world wars, a Yiddish writer or a Jewish writer were considered as leaders of Jewishness. Between the two world wars, the status of a Yiddish writer was very high, and it was expected that a writer should be a leader, and a leader has to explain the people and define the problems of Jewishness. This was between the two world wars. After World War II, the high status of writers, of Yiddish writers, or of writers in general, Jewish writers, came a little bit down. And they were and are considered as writers, but not as leaders of Jewishness. Someone wants to comment about that, what I am saying now?
Ihr meint, als a Professor, was hat a Stellung in einer akademischen Universität, hat mehr...
Nicht a Stellung, no a Stelle.
Oh, was meint Stellung?
Stellung is a stance, an intellectual opinion. Stelle is an occupational place. So what's your question, Nechama? Ich mein, ihr fragt mir, euer Professor, was arbeitet in der Universität, כן? מה השאלה שלך?
No, I didn't understand what Stellung means here.
No, here it doesn't mean at all. Stellung is an opinion. And you have to say a Stelle, a place of work.
So as oib die Schreiber haben nicht gehabt kein Bechvod der dicker Stellung, as wer haben gehabt das? Die Rabbonim?
Yofi. Nechama is asking, if I understand, a very interesting question. And I will paraphrase your question and you will say if I understood what you want to ask. 2 minutes ago, I said, from my knowledge of Yiddish literature, that between the 2 world wars, writers had a very high status. And in Jewish towns, they were invited to come for a weekend because Jews in the little towns wanted to hear what Yiddish writers say, because the Yiddish writers were considered not only as writers, but as leaders of Jewishness. And if I understood what Nechama is saying, after World War II, and Nechama is saying, so what you are saying, he says to me, a professor in a university who has an occupational place as a teacher of some discipline, do you want to say, Nechama asked me, that he is no more an intellectual Jewish leader of the Jewish people? This is what you are asking?
No, ich will fragen. Ich habe gemeint, a Stellung meint a Stelle.
לא, אבל גמרנו, אני הסברתי. Stellung זה עמדה. Stelle, this is what you are asking.
Ich will, aber ich will wissen, wer seien die Menschen, was in Israel haben sie sich gewendet, gedei zu wissen, wer ist Yid.
Okay. So, again, I am paraphrasing what I understood from the question of Nechama, and I say, Nechama wants to know to whom wrote Ben Gurion asking what is a Jew, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So in order to answer completely your question, when I sent to you the article of Strigler, a little bit before, I had an introduction of myself. Do you see it? In Hebrew, where I explain, you see it?
At the beginning?
At the beginning, as an introduction to Strigler's article, I have a little introduction of myself in Hebrew, if I remember.
I'm just going to look at the end if there's something.
At the beginning, not at the end.
Oh, no, it's not here. It's not here. Maybe it's on, maybe it's online, or it's not here. I don't see it.
Amy או ורה או דניאל, אתם רואים את המבוא הקטן שלי?
כן.
לפני המאמר של שריגלר. כן?
Yes. Let me just see one sec. אני שולח את המאמר
כן, אימי, תקראי את המבוא שלי.
מבוא. Okay, yeah. So let me just, I'll send it right now.
Okay.
Okay, it just means I have to stop sharing this and I have to open up another, I don't know if I can do that.
No need.
Okay.
Amy, read aloud my short introduction.
Uh-oh. That's going to be difficult. I'm not good at, oh, wait a minute.
I don't understand. Why difficult?
You know what? I think it's in Yiddish.
Okay.
Are you sure it was in Hebrew? Yiddish
No,
is easier for me to read.
Begin to read and I'll tell you if this is the introduction.
Okay. Mordechai Strigler's Artikel, A Volk mit der Fragezeichen.
Okay, this is my introduction in Yiddish. Okay.
Okay, should I read it?
Yes.
Okay, is geschrieben
This is in order to answer the question of Nechama. Okay.
Okay, is geschrieben geworden in Jahr 1958. That's it.
50.
Okay. 50. In dem Jahr hat David Ben-Gurion sich gewendet zu zendlicher Yiddish Talmidei Chachamim und Schreiber und gefragt bei sie die Frage, wer ist Yid? Hat bekommen sämtlicher Entwers.
Scores of answers. Yes.
Scores of answers. Srov seinen Gewinn formuliert auf der Basis von halachischer
Perspektiv.
Yeah.
Halachischer Perspektiv.
Perspektiv, okay. Okay, 43, let's see. 43 Jahre später erst is der Schienen in
So this
Druck.
Is what you are trying now to read. This is my answer to Nechama. 43 years afterwards, appeared the book with all the answers. Good.
Ein Buch mit die Entwers auf Ben-Gurions Frage. Okay.
And now I will give the signs and the name of the book and who are the editors of the book. And the person who is interested to know what were the answers, Nechama, has to get the book and he will find there the answers. Good.
And the book is in Hebrew? Es ist geschrieben...
Amy, תקראי, אני לא זוכר. כן, Amy.
Okay. זהויות יהודיות.
זהויות יהודיות. This is the name of the book in Hebrew. זהויות יהודיות. Jewish identities.
תשובות חכמי ישראל בן-גוריון, בעריכת אליעזר בן רפאל, בשיתוף עם יוסף גורני ושלום רצבי.
These are the editors of the book. Okay.
Yeah. Stable Care in 2001. Wow. That's very recent.
Right.
Only
23 years ago.
Yeah. Okay, now back to Yiddish. Thank God. Nicht geguckt auf dem, nicht geguckt auf dem, was David Ben-Gurion hat sich nicht gewendet zu Mordechai Striegler in
אוקיי, זה אני כבר אמרתי. אז אף על פי שבן גוריון לא שאל את שטריגלר, שטריגלר כתב, הפולק מתאפק אצלו. This is my answer to Nechama. There is a book which appeared in 2001, and Amy wrote the name of the book and who are the editors. And if you will get the book, you will have all the answers Ben-Gurion received.
Und ich will wissen, ob Ben-Gurion hat sich gewendet auf ein Yiddish Schreiber.
Das ist eine gute Frage. Aber das kann man sehen in dem Buch, was ist erschienen in 2000. Ich meine es nicht. Aber man darf haben dem Buch, כדי zu sehen, wer hat geantwortet וזה weiter. אנחנו חוזרים לטקסט של המאמר של שטריגלר.
Can I ask a question?
Of course.
Why did the status of the Jewish writers decline after World War II as leaders of Yiddish right?
Okay, a very good
in your opinion,
question.
I guess.
Okay. I repeat your question. I said before that the status of Yiddish writers between the two world wars was very high as leaders. And you are asking, why did I say that after World War II, the status of Yiddish writers declined, and it was not so high like between the two World Wars II? This is the question?
Yes.
Okay.
Ken, yeah.
The first answer, there are many ways to answer your question. The first answer is that Eastern Europe was annihilated and there was no more Jewish townlets and no more Jews alive. After the Holocaust, Yiddish writers were annihilated together with 6 million Jews. The whole Jewish people changed. The character of the Jewish people after World War II was minus 6 million Jews. And in those 6 million Jews, most of them were the people who looked between the two world wars at the Yiddish writers as their leaders. Mm-hmm. Those Jews were annihilated. Many of their writers were annihilated. The Jewish people after World War II was completely another story until today. Answer 2 to your question. The second answer is Yiddish literature after World War II ceased to be, together with Yiddish press, one of the main forces of Yiddish culture, because there were no more 6 million readers, were no more. The Yiddish press was no more. The whole character of the Jewish people after World War II changed. I can say that the Jewish people, minus 6 million Jews, had to begin again to construct not only its Jewish identity, but also the places where Jews in the diaspora became to live after World War II. The cataclysm was so big that the Jewish people after World War II is not similar at all to the Jewish people between the two world wars. So the status of Yiddish writers existed also after World War II, but it changed completely because the whole construction of the Jewish nation changed. Eastern Europe was erased. The Jewish nation began a new cycle, a different cycle. Amy, אני עונה קצת על השאלה?
Ken, did Ben-Gurion ask his question to the people outside of Israel, all over the world? Of course,
very much.
Okay.
He went to intellectuals in the diaspora, even more perhaps than in Israel. Yeah. And אני ממליץ למצוא את הספר הזה, זהויות יהודיות, with the answers, because this is a historical document about the variety of answers what is to be a Jew, which is a kind of testimony how the Jewish people after World War II in 2001 was with different definitions what is a Jew.
And nobody's going to agree.
Okay, no, so the commotion of the Holocaust and of the disappearance of the Jewish people from Eastern Europe, the effect of this commotion until today finds his expression in the article of Strigler, which we are reading now.
Okay. Alle Svorim und Bücher במשך...
כן, סליחה, בבקשה.
Alle Svorim und Bücher במשך von so viel Deures. I think it should be Zenon. There's a Dalit, but I think it's Zenon Azoi wie Nellen geworden. Yeah, there's a few mistakes, yeah.
Okay, but doesn't matter. You corrected it.
Okay.
Translate this please translate this sentence because it is saying what I said before. Okay,
all the books and the holy books and the books throughout so many generations became just disappeared.
Right. המשפט הבא.
Or as though they disappeared. Und die Frage hat gemont, Atshuve mit so viel aktueller Frischkeit, gleich wie sie wollt erst a voice von der Nodel.
Okay. So what Strigler is saying, that because of the Shoah, all the answers of the past about Jewish identity disappeared together with the culture which was annihilated, and you can feel that the question is like a new question, even though the answers existed before the Holocaust, but they were annihilated after the Holocaust happened. עוד משפט, נחמה.
I like how he wrote at the end, gleich wie sie wollt erst the voice von der Nodel.
Translate it into English. The question about who is a Jew, okay?
Yeah. Hat gemeint a tshuva, it necessitated like an answer or demanded an answer? I don't know.
Demanded an answer,
okay. With so much or so many actual I don't know, freshness, Frischkeit,
Okay.
newness, I guess. It means like
freshness.
Freshness, okay. Gleich wie sie wollt erst the voice von der Nodel. It's hard to translate that as.
So I will translate it. The freshness was in the question. We're asking for an answer as it was, as a new question. Gleich wie sie sehr starois von Nodel. This is an idiom of a tailor. When you sew a garment and he's completely new, yet went out of the needle, which means the question sounded like a new question, a fresh question, which never existed before, but in reality, centuries ago, who is a Jew was clear, but after the Holocaust, the commotion was so big that it felt like it's a new question which has no former answers. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
המשפט הבא.
Okay. Euch in Medinas Yisrael seinen gewähren öffentliche Teines zu bestimmte Schreiber von Farnem.
Von?
Farnem.
Von Farnem. Translation into English. Euch in Israel.
Also in the state of Israel, there were open tinus complaints.
Right.
Oh, like I guess out in the open complaints.
Open complaints, Hala.
Of certain writers, but bestimmte
of Farnem, to certain important writers. Farnem, okay?
Oh,
from importance.
Farnem means importance?
Farnem means to embrace a big place, okay? To occupy a big place, which means important writers. There were some complaints against important writers. What were the complaints, Tamshikhi?
Okay, hey, this is Hebrew, I don't know. Hey Yud Taf Chaf Nun Sofit. I don't know what that is.
Hayitochen, hayitachen. Could it be? Hayitachen. Haim ze yachol liot. This is the complaint. Could it be? This was the complaint. Hala.
A folk dangelt sich mit a sehr schwerer Tasche und sie schweigen.
Und sie?
Schweigen.
So the complaint was to important writers, a folk, a whole nation, wrangles sich, is quarreling with such a big question, who is a Jew? Und sie schweigen, and they, the important writers, don't speak, don't answer, don't take part to answer the question. הבנתם?
Yeah, yeah.
תמשיכי נחמה.
Aber dort ist es lechol hapoches gewesen, verbunden mit der Reihe juridische Tagfragen. Welche, oh, okay. But there is, dort is where? In America?
Crisis, in the governmental crisis.
Oh, okay. Aber dort is lechol hapoches, like at least.
At least, yes.
There was verbunden,
connected
with array. I forget what a series of legal Tagfragen. Daily questions? No.
Right. Actual questions, yeah.
Was meint Tagfragen?
שאלות שהתעוררו בו ביום. Actual
daily
problems.
Okay.
How to behave. Who will be a Jew in the state of Israel? כן.
Welche men hat tegen ומייד gedarf lezen?
These were questions which they're needed in the government to solve. Otherwise, you cannot say who can be a citizen of the state of Israel.
Und lesen means to read?
No, lesen, זה לא lesen. Lesen means to, מי יכול לעזור לי? To solve.
I'm looking.
To solve.
Oh, to solve. Okay.
Problem. In order to decide who is a Jew. כן.
Okay.
תמשיכי נחם.
Aber in die Tfutzes ist es geworden Amin Psychos.
Psychos, תרגום.
Psychos. But in Golas,
yes.
It became a sort of, I don't know what psychos is.
Psychosa.
Was meint das?
Psychiatric problem.
What?
אין באנגלית פסיכוזה? Psychiatric problem.
Oh, psychotic.
Psychosis?
Oh,
right. So the question, who is a Jew in the Galut, became a terrifying question. People didn't know how to solve who is a Jew. Why?
Es ist given Ärger in Golas?
Yes. Yeah, why? Because in Golas you had many different approaches to Jewishness, more approaches to Jewishness than in the state of Israel. Also in the state of Israel, there were different approaches, but in the Golas there were more. זה ברור? נחמה.
כן.
תמשיך.
Okay, das letzte Geschrei von der Redmode. And that's the end of the sentence.
Das letzte Geschrei von der Redmode, I will translate it. The psychosis was the last cry of the time. It was a very common and actual problem for all the Jews in the diaspora.
And was meant Redmode? The speech.
Redmode. It was a talk of every day in every place by everyone.
It was the talk of the day or something.
Right.
Okay.
משפט הבא, נחמה.
Gott nimm a ganz Volk und leg es weg auf der psychoanalytische Kuschetke.
Okay, you go. So, how was it a psychosis of the whole people? Hochnem, you should take a whole nation, like you should take a whole nation, and lay it on the psychiatric bed.
Psychoanalytic, I think.
Psychoanalytic bed.
Akushete. Oh, akushete.
I knew there was going to be a cushion.
סליחה? כן. So it's important.
I said cushion an hour ago.
מה את אומרת, אמי?
I was talking about cushions before.
Right. So it's another way by Strigler to say the same thing. Everyone in the diaspora was crazy try to answer the question, who is a Jew? So what he says that in the diaspora it was even worse. Also in the state of Israel, it was not sure who is a Jew, but in the diaspora it was even worse. נחמה המשפט הבא.
Dribbel sich so lang in seine Sinneke Neplin.
מה המילה הראשונה שקראת?
גריבלזיך.
גריבלזיך, כן. אז שטריגלר מסביר how awful was in the diaspora the problem, as if you are compelled sich zu gribbeln, to investigate into yourself, gribbel זה מהשפה גרוב. איך זה גרוב באנגלית?
Like when you dig something?
Yes. So dig into yourself to find an answer. Why are you in commotion? גריבל sich, תמשיכי, נתרגם. Look inside yourself, deep inside yourself, כן?
In seine Bewusstsinnige, I don't know what that is, Neplin.
So look to find an answer into your Neplin, which means, איך אומרים נבל באנגלית? Fog, כן. Into your Unterbewusstsein, into your
subconscious,
subconscious.
Oh.
Yes, this is their still Strigler. Okay, so look deep into yourself in those layers. You cannot know exactly what happens there in order to answer who is a Jew. Hala, Nechama.
I'm writing a word. Hinterbewusst.
Unconscious.
Sinnig. Okay.
Bewusstsein is a conscious. Hinterbewusstsein, behind conscious.
Unconscious. Okay. Bis jeder Jid soll von sein Trans, Reus, kennen werden Eus, Meshugener, Battlen?
אוקיי, אבל תקראי עוד פעם, כי יש מילים שלא הבנתי. ביז ידר יית,
soll von sein Trans,
soll von sein was?
A trance. It's the same in English, like somebody's in a trance. Trance.
Trance, okay.
Arois kennen wären ois meshugener Butlin?
Butlin, okay.
Butlin.
The style of Striegler is very literary. Yes. He says,
no, can I finish the sentence? Like, can I just finish the sentence? Because
no, because it will be even more difficult to
okay.
So, what Striegler says, in the diaspora, every Jew was committed because the commotion to look deep into himself, into the unconscious of himself, bis until the moment. Yes, because every Jew has to find an answer. So to look deep into his unconscious, bis until the moment, תמשיכי ביידיש שם,
bis jeder Yid,
until every Jew who is looking deep into himself can
soll von sein Trance Arois kennen.
Until every Jew will be able to take out from his trance, because he is looking deep into his unconscious. He's in a trance. He will look so far until the moment when he will take out of his trance. תמשיכי.
Kennen werden ois meshugener.
כן. Until he will he will be able to become ois meshugener, no more crazy, and will become no crazy. After he's looking deep into his consciousness, until he will become no more crazy. To look deep into his unconscious is to become crazy. So until the moment he will solve his problem as a Jew, תמשיכי נחמה.
Was meint Butlin? Meshugener Butlin?
Meshugener Butlin. This is a hint to a story of Yud Lamed Peretz.
Yeah, okay.
About a man who became crazy because he couldn't define to himself who he is. Okay?
Es ist geschrieben wie bei Peretzen.
That's it. So my answer is correct.
And a Butlin is a beggar? Is that
right?
Okay.
A butler is a person who has no aims in his life, who doesn't know how to behave, and it's more than a beggar. It's a person who is good for nothing.
Idler.
It comes from the Hebrew levatel, to cancel. A person who is canceling everything in his life, who doesn't do anything which is proper or productive. Amy, אמרת משהו?
No, I thought I heard Vera say idler, like to be idle.
Right.
I was thinking the same thing. I think Vera said that.
Okay. Now, Nechama, I am asking all the time, you should read, because you are our chazan. And you read very, very loud and clear.
But I don't understand a lot.
And when you are asking me if I want that someone other will read, if I say yes, we are adding one more difficulty, because no one is reading so clearly as you, and we need to go forward. Did I explain why I prefer you reading in order to go forward?
Yeah.
But if you feel that you want someone to read, I agree.
I think that when I want somebody else to read, I think I just to make it fair, you know, so we all share or participate.
Yes, but
I also have difficulty
fair,
understanding.
To make it fair means also that we shall go forward. And if we give someone to read in the moment when we want to go forward, we are entering into one more difficulty.
You know, I suggested we read, you know, the first paragraph again, because I think to read Strigler, once you explain it and then go back and read it again, is a little bit easier.
That's right. I agree with you completely. Okay. So as I said before, if you will feel that someone should read, I will not be against.
Okay, let me just finish this sentence to finish the paragraph. Okay, yeah. So wie bei Peretzin und kennen entweren auf der Scheile, wer bin ich?
Yeah, that's exactly. So in the story of Peretz, the problem of the Batlin is that he doesn't know who he is. And that's exactly the problem there is Aid. Okay. Amy, את רוצה לקרוא את המשפט הבא?
Okay. Schön das allein kann, is that where we are? Yeah. Schön das allein kann gehören zum tragischen Humor von unserer Zeit.
Translate it into English.
Already this alone can stop.
Pertains. Can gehören, pertains. Can pertain.
Oh, pretend.
Pertain.
I'm sorry, can what?
Belongs to. Belongs right. to.
Oh, pertain. Can pertain to the
which means
this alone, only this?
Yes.
Can pertain to the tragic humor of our time.
What is, I'm asking you, and if you cannot answer, I will answer. What is the tragic humor of our time? Which Strigler says that all he said before is a kind of tragic humor of our time.
That we don't know who we are?
Right, right. And why is it humorous? Because all the centuries we wrote and we defined ourselves and what is Jewishness, etc. And suddenly, in the 20th century after the Holocaust, we don't know who we are, and Ben-Gurion is asking, where is it? So, when some meetings ago, someone asking if there is humor in Strigler, and I answered, of course. And I even mentioned humorous writings of Strigler. What he's saying here is, hey, reader, be aware that we in the 20th century don't know who we are. Is that not crazy? And this is asking a Talmudist, a person who knows the core of Jewishness during centuries. But he is making a photograph of our time, of the Jewish nation in our time after the Holocaust. And he says and he sees that we lost our identity which we know what it is for centuries. And we lost our identity not because we are idiots. We lost our identity because there was a historical debacle. It was the Holocaust. The whole Jews of Eastern Europe were erased and killed and murdered. Something happened in Jewish history which cannot be restored. כן. Amy, עוד משפט.
Aber nicht gefährlich, sof kol sof, meg jedes Volk, noch in Obläuf von etliche Kufes, revidieren, soll einstellen.
מה המילה לפני, רגע, לפני עצור, מה המילה הקודמת?
Revidieren?
Revidir, to revise, כן, עצור.
Oh, right, okay. Soll einstellen. Betrachten die neu aufgekommene Problematik und sehen, was die Zeit verlangt.
Fantastisch. תרגום.
Oh boy. Aber nicht gefährlich means not terrible?
Yes, it's not terrible. He's echoing what I said. There was a Holocaust. There was a historical commotion. The Jews of Eastern Europe doesn't exist. And then Striegler says, nicht gefährlich. It is not so terrible as you think. תמשיכי, אמי.
Sof kol sof, that sort of means in the end, or
right,
something
in
like
the end,
yeah.
And in spite of what happened in Eastern Europe,
meg jedes Volk, I guess
it is allowed that any nation
noch in Obläuf von etliche Kufes after don't know about
some periods of his life, of historical life, past. Obläuf.
Oh.
After past.
Okay.
A series of periods in his history.
Periods, yeah. Revidieren soll einstellen. Revise.
So every nation may revidieren, may revise, soll einstellen, a series of accepted commonplaces in his history. The key word is revise. Every nation may revise his way in history.
Betrachten die neu aufgekommene Problematik.
And to look and consider the new problematic which appeared. Aufgekommene. Which appeared. The new problematic which appeared.
Und sehen, was die Zeit verlangt. And see what the time, I don't know, verlangt.
What the time requires. So what Striegler is saying is, no matter what happened in the Holocaust, no matter Jews of Eastern Europe don't exist anymore. Every nation may look again as its trajectory in history and adapt itself. Look what the new time requires. Adapt itself to the requirements of the new time. And I say, all that Striegler says is correct if the nation knows what is its identity. You can reconsider and revise and adapt yourself if you know who yourself is. Where is Ayid? If you can answer to this question, then you will be able to continue to be a nation. Amy, עוד משפט.
Die Zora ist aber, was Sach jeden haben dabei gewollt bekommen, a kurze Tshuva al רגל אחת.
שלוש המילים הראשונות, תחזרי עליהם.
Die Zora is aber.
Aber. So, after Striegler said what he said, he says there is a bug in the whole process for the future. Sizdo atzore. What is the tzore? What is the bad situation? Siz ober atzore, there is a bug. תמשיכי, Amy.
Was Sach jeden haben dabei gewollt bekommen, a kurze Tshuva. So,
okay.
Yeah, a lot of Jews would like to have a short answer on one foot.
Exactly. And Striegler is the last person in the world who will give a short answer. Because Striegler is analyzing the situation of the Jewish nation today from different points of view before he answers to the question, where is Ayid? And the bag is, he says, people want to answer immediately to where is Ayid with a short answer. And there is no short answer to the question, where is Ayid? Vera.
He was already, the Striegler, I'm trying to place, I can't remember when he settled in New York. He was already in 19... Yeah.
Striegler settled in New York. I'm trying to remember that. I guess before World War II.
Yeah.
No, ich habe gelernt, als is given noch der Milchome in Holocaust, in Shoah, in אפשר Paris etliche Jahre.
זה נכון, זה נכון.
ומשתמע noch dem.
זה נכון, כן. את תיקנת אותי. שטריגלר, ממזרח אירופה, כן? אחרי השואה, הגיע לפריז, ומפריז, after כמה שנים, הוא הגיע לניו יורק. זאת אומרת, הוא הגיע לניו יורק אחרי השואה. תודה על התיקון, נחמה. אימי, קיבלת תשובה?
Yeah, I guess I'm just trying to think, you know, he's writing this from America. He wasn't in Israel. And he's thinking about these things in 1958 America. I don't know.
Okay,
I'm just trying to kind
he wanted to come to Israel, but it didn't work.
Yeah.
So after the Holocaust, he's a survivor of the Holocaust, and he came after the Holocaust to America.
Right. But somebody in America looking at who is a Jew, this question of who is a Jew, and they're in America in 1958, they're kind of seeing and feeling, you know, the environment. So I was just trying to get a feel for what his impressions might have been.
What his impressions from America?
Yeah.
Well, I would say that, in my opinion, Striegler continued mentally and feeling as a Jew from Eastern Europe.
Right.
About America, he of course had his criticism, but for him, America was a fact. He couldn't deny that many Jews are in America. But this America was not the ideal future he looked for the Jewish people, even though he understood that Jews in America are a fact, a historical fact.
Ist gewesen Zionist, weil gleich in Onheit von seinem Essay, schreibt Medinas Yisrael.
Right, and he wanted to come to Israel to settle here, but we will not enter into that. There is a whole story about his preparing himself to make Aliyah into Israel.
Ich feel as I'm very disappointed as hat nicht gefühlt bequem to ole sein in Ken Yisrael hat passiert. Es ist gewesen sein Beschuldigung oder
was ist Beschuldigung? Was
hat nicht besetzt in Israel?
Okay, I will answer to your question. Nechama is asking if...
sorry.
אפשר? למה אתם צוחקים?
No, because I feel bad, right? As das ist nicht gewesen der Folgreich for him.
So I will answer to your question. Your question is a question of facts, and I will answer with facts, okay? Not with sentiments.
Okay.
Striegler, when he went from Paris to New York, as far as I remember, he went temporarily to the States because he went to the States for a short time at the beginning to work as an editor of Forwards. He went to the States because he was committed to help to foster the Yiddish press in New York. And yet, I guess that he thought about, after a period in the States, to come to Israel. But as life has its own laws, he became a steady editor of forwards in other life actualities of his life in the States. Made that he stayed until his death in the States. One of the very interesting causes why Strigler did not come to Israel, if I remember, and I learned that from his letters to Leivik. I published a huge book of the letters between Strigler and Leivik. And one of the reasons, I don't say it's the only reason, one of the reasons was that Ben Gurion wanted Strigler in Israel in order to be the editor of Ben Gurion's writings. And Strigler, as an editor of the writings of another person, even if it is Ben Gurion, means that Strigler would become a kind of secretary of Ben Gurion. And Strigler was too much occupied with his own plans, with his own writings, to be a second hand of Ben Gurion. Strigler was aware that if he comes to Israel and goes to work with Ben Gurion, he will lose his own independence as a creator, as a writer, as a thinker. And this is a reason which no one knows, because you have to read the letters of Strigler in order to understand that. And the letters of Strigler and Leivik, I published them only recently.
סליחה?
כן.
אנחנו כבר עברנו זמן.
תודה שאת אומרת לי, אני התלהבתי לענות לנחמה. השעה 7:44. אוי אלוהים.